Hi, everyone. I'm Patrick Chun. I'm the Executive Director of World Civility Index here in Canada. And today, again, we are very lucky to have soft skill expert Carolina Tan with us to talk about what if your boss asks you to do a lot of stuff that is overwhelming you over your head, and your boss asks you to do one more thing, and what should you do? So let's hear it from Carolina. What would be the expert advice of what you should do? Carolina.
Thank you. Hi, Patrick, and hello to all our ET followers out there. So, responding to your boss when asked to do many things. So, how are we going to go about it? There are many ways to reply, right? Either you say yes, boss, either you say no, I can't, or
Mm,
go find something else. No, but in reality, how many of us, find ourselves asking, is this part of my original job description, what I'm actually hired to do?
mm,
Chances are over time, because you and I are eager so very much to prove our worth and to prove our capacities,
mm,
we've taken on a number of responsibilities. And
mm,
many times these fall outside the realm of what we are
mm,
supposed to do originally.
mm,
While, of course, delegation is a normal function of management,
mm,
well, as employees, we may not always be able to accommodate certain requests. So
mm,
it's very important to actually consider
mm,
how we want to actually respond when
mm,
asked to do something.
mm,
So we can always gather facts, we
mm,
can always make an informed decision. Or in other words, if it's an example, let's say between sending an email to someone versus, okay, you build a new software program. We all know very well the second task takes so much time, right? You are an
mm.
engineer, Patrick, right?
Much
So
longer, yeah.
perhaps days and weeks or months.
Yeah.
So therefore, by all means, then that actually becomes the determining factor. So
Mm,
we can always say, yes, boss, okay, do you want me to put this other project that I'm working on
mm,
aside for now? Or
mm,
it could actually be on a positive side, such as, sure, I don't mind doing this, boss. I don't think it will take too long. So
mm,
I'll make room for it. So that sounds positive, right?
mm,
And sometimes we may want to say or be tempted to say, I don't think I have enough time to do that right
mm,
now. Do
mm,
you mind asking someone else? But, in reality, I'm not so certain how many of us have the guts to
mm,
literally blurt that out,
yeah.
especially if it's your department head or if it's your boss.
Well, usually what I'll do when, in my days as an employee, I try to use humor. Is I'll come across in a way that, yes, I'm saying to you, boss, that I cannot do it, but I come across in more of a light way instead of saying, sorry, boss, I can't do it, something like this. I'll say, oh my God, George, I love to do it, but I can, I got umpteen things to do, and oh, maybe something like this. I'll ask my boss to make decision for me. So I
You
am,
bring it back to the boss, right?
yes, I'm bringing it back to the boss. I say, well, what would you do, George? If you were me, I got all these things on my list. I can actually show you on a piece of paper. I got it written down, and so he would say, oh well, so that he would feel my pain instead of just hiding all my pain. And he would never know, right? He would just say, well, how hard could it be? Writing that computer program, it takes you what, 3 hours? It turns out maybe something like 3 months, right? But he didn't know. And so, yeah, coming across in a positive way, so that at the end of the day, I'm better off in terms of relationship with him than before. Doesn't matter what I'm asking. I think that would be the holy grail to achieve.
That's a wonderful way to actually put it, to actually be light and to use humor. And many times, Patrick, you and I may want to consider like example of scenarios, right? Let's say, what if your boss asks you to tell another coworker he or she is fired? That's a tough thing, right? Like if I were asked that, it's like at the back of my mind, I'm not even part of HR, right?
Mhm.
So I feel that terminating someone's employment would be better if it's coming from you, boss, or coming from our head of HR. So that's a wonderful way to actually address it. Instead of just saying, oh, no, no problem. Do I have to give any exit paperwork to this person? So that may seem like very, very intrusive.
Mhm.
Or let's say, looking at another scenario, what if your boss asks you to, do you mind going to the cafe and get coffee?
Mhm.
So it could be a menial task, right? So
Mhm.
we can actually say, I'm sorry, boss, I cannot because I'm in the middle of this project and it's due
Mhm.
tomorrow.
Mhm.
Or it could be looking at it at the other way and say, sure, I don't mind the little break. So how do you want your coffee? So
Mhm.
again, that's another perspective, another way of looking at it.
Mhm.
And of course, scenarios such as the third one actually happen a lot of times. What if
Mhm.
we are asked to, do you mind staying late? Staying in
Mhm.
late because this project needs to get done. So, in
Mhm.
other words, it's working longer than our normal. So,
Mhm.
we can always say, yes, I can stay late to finish. Or we can actually say that I have other commitments and can't actually stay at this time. So is
Mhm.
there someone else in the team who can do it?
Mhm.
Or the most wonderful or palatable to one's ear, especially if you're the boss, you would want to perhaps hear, yes, I can finish it by tonight. So that would be a
Mhm.
wonderful way to cap the day. So
Wonderful.
again,
Yeah. Mhm.
yes,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
many ways of actually going around it. But of course, we love what you mentioned earlier, to incorporate like light humor.
Light humor. At the same time, you let your boss know how much you are uh, almost above and beyond. This is above and beyond. I'm not saying asking you to, try to take the glory and so on, but let him know that what your predicament is, your pain point, so that yeah, let him feel your pain, so to speak. Just this is part of communication. I think that is healthy. It's not like you're trying to put a guilt trip on your boss, but just to let him know in that regard. Yeah. Yeah.
As always, communication is the vital key that actually cements a positive like employee and boss relationship altogether. Bottom line, as an inspirational insight for you and I, for all of us, let us not, okay, be at the brink of a burnout wherein all we do is just work 24/7. There has to be
Mm,
a balance between
mm,
our social lives and also the hobbies that we like to do.
mm,
So at the end of the day, we don't want to feel overwhelmed,
mm,
overburdened
mm,
in the sense that we are not able to deliver what we call high quality work anymore. So
mm,
that
mm.
would be compromising on what on why we are there for in the first place, fulfilling our jobs.
Yeah. Well, sometimes putting in the midnight oil and the overtime, even without pay and so on, is inevitable. I mean, sometimes they are just emergency. And if you can pull it, if you really can, have the time to do it, don't make excuses and so on, but just pull it in there. And people notice. I mean, people are smart. They remember. I remember, hey, certain so and so, he really pulled it in, he was a team player. So just to let your boss know, hey, no problem, I can do it. And another time say, oh gosh, today is my wife's birthday or my daughter's graduation party. I cannot do it. So just let him know, so that there is communication. Very important. So thank you very much, Carol. This has
Thank you.
been another wonderful insight, and we'll chat again next time.
Thank you so much. You're welcome. Bye.
Bye bye.